Welcome time travelers and welcome new time travelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and enjoy learning about history, one event at a time, then don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today we're going to start out in 1781, right around the time when the American Revolution happened, when Petersburg, Virginia was captured by British troops under William Phillips and Benedict Arnold during the American Revolution. 1792 brought us the first guillotine was erected on the Place de Grève in Paris to execute a highwayman. 1809, the treaty in 1809 at the Treaty of Amersfoort, which settled Indo-Scotch relation for a generation, was concluded between Charles T. Macheath, representing the British East Indian Company, and Bajit Sai, head of the Sikh Kingdom of Punjab. Now, 50 years later, in 1859, construction of the Suez Canal officially began. Completed 10 years later. The waterway connected the Mediterranean to the Red Seas. Moving on to 1874, when Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian physicist who invented a successful system of radio telegraphy in 1896 and received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1909, was born. 1901 brought us New York, becoming the first U.S. state to mandate license plates when Governor Benjamin Odell Jr. signed a law ordering automobiles and motorcycles to display the separate initials of the owner's name placed upon the back thereof, and in a conspicuous place. 7 years later, in 1908, Edward R. Murrow, a radio and television broadcaster who was the most influential and esteemed figure in American broadcast journalism during its formative years, was born in North Carolina. 1915 is when the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps Anzac landed at Gallipoli in western Turkey during the Danells campaign of World War I. 11 years later, in 1926, Giacomo Pacelli uncompleted opera Turandot was performed posthumously at La Scala under the direction of Arto Toscani. 1959 is when one of the largest civil engineering feats ever undertaken, the St. Lawrence Seaway, officially opened, linking the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes. 10 years later, before the turn of the century, in 1990, when Velvet Barris DiCarlo became Central America's first female president, as she was sworn into office in Nicaragua 5 years later, in 1995, is when American dancer and actress Ginger Rogers, who starred with Fred Astaire in 10 popular Hollywood musicals, passed away at the age of 83. 2008 is when the government of China expresses its new willingness to meet with envoys of the Dalai Lama, of the Dalai Lama for discussions on Tibet. Excuse me. We're going to make a stop in 2014 when in a cost-saving measure, the water supply of Flint, Michigan was switched from Detroit Water and Sewage Department to Flint River, causing the public health crisis as residents were exposed to dangerously high levels of lead. 2015 brought us a magnitude of 7.8 earthquake struck near Kathmandu, Nepal, causing widespread damage and killing several thousand. 4 years later, in 2019, American basketball player John Havlicek, who was considered the best sixth-man bench player in the history of the NBA, died at the age of 79. And finally, 3 years ago, in 2021, Chinese filmmaker Chloe Zhao became the first person of color to win the Academy Award for Best Director. She was recognized for Nomadland in 2020, which was also named Best Picture. Until next time.